Hi guys, Darth Deuce here, back on our Star Wars The Vintage Collection action figure review. Today, taking a look at a brand new release. It is the uh, Star Wars Vintage Collection Return of the Jedi 40th Anniversary Darth Vader Death Star 2 version. Kind of the aftermath of the final duel aboard the Death Star 2. Yeah, another Vader, which I know might not be the most exciting thing ever, but this figure does some cool, newer things that I think make this a fairly interesting release. I actually don't own a Vader, like a traditional Vader with a removable helmet. Like I have a few Vaders where their helmets come off, but they're all like expanded universe versions or like unique versions. Like I've got the battle damage Darth Vader, but he still has like half the mask on him. And I have this Infinities Darth Vader from a comic pack, but the head underneath is like a Padawan Anakin head because it's like a Force Dream kind of figure. I don't actually have like a normal, and I think I have a Revenge of the Sith Darth Vader removal helmet, but it's like the freshly burned and scarred up Anakin head under there, not like Sebastian Shaw. So I've been personally looking forward to this. And just even just in the packaging, I think it looks pretty great. But we'll take a quick look at him on the card back. And I think this is a pretty cool card back. I think this is a good one if you're a mint on card collector for TBC. I think this is one you'll be happy with. It does have that 40th Return of the Jedi little emblem up there in the corner. You got Return of the Jedi, Darth Vader, Death Star 2. A nice image of Vader or Anakin without the helmet on figure in the bubble there. And then on the back, just some other figures that are currently available. I have reviewed Hunter, the Clone Trooper, and the Tusken Raider Warrior, all on the channel already relatively recently. I do also have a review of the Clone Captain Hauser. Technically, I did get that 4-pack. I do believe I have a review of that on my channel. So I have already reviewed him. I'm not sure if I'll get the Weequay, and I'll probably get the new Han Solo eventually, but I've found him a few times already. I figure he'll probably be pretty easy to get. I am going to see if I can maybe wait to see if he goes on sale, because TVC just aren't that cheap anymore, unfortunately. And then we have the Darth Vader, which definitely been one of the more difficult ones to track down. Like, not super difficult, but definitely one of the ones I see a lot less of. I only saw him, I got this guy at GameStop in store, and that's the first and only time I've actually physically seen him in a store. Anyways, that's it for the card back. So I'm gonna crack this guy open and we'll take a closer look. Okay, now I got the Return of the Jedi Darth Vader figure out of the packaging, and it's a really good Darth Vader figure. I was expecting it to be using that Dark Times body mold. You're basically guaranteed to have a really good Darth Vader figure. That is the best mold for 3¼ inch Vader figures. So yeah, and all I was expecting this figure to be already pretty solid, and the figure works pretty well. You know, if you are a new collector, you don't own a Darth Vader figure yet at this scale, this figure really does a good job at kind of filling that in if you need it to. As with the different accessories and options it has, you can pretty much just have them as a normal Vader figure, or yeah, designed Vader, which is nice. Taking a closer look, you have the helmet sculpt. I think the sculpt is pretty good. The helmet is a little bigger to accommodate for the removable helmet gimmick, but I still think it looks pretty good. It's got those silver accents on the face. The lenses are a subtle brownish color. Now, it might be a personal preference thing, I'm not sure, but I wish for Return of the Jedi figures of Vader, they would paint the eyes the jet black. I don't think in the movie the lighting is ever in such a way where we see the actual tint color of the lenses, not like in A New Hope or in newer films like Rogue One. They always look jet black to me. I would prefer them to be a glossy jet black for this figure, especially considering it seems like every Vader figure we get now has the reddish or brownish eye lenses. It's just kind of a personal preference thing maybe at the end of the day, rather than an accuracy kind of thing, but I think it's worth mentioning. But it still looks good. It is obvious it's a removable helmet. There is that seam there between where the helmet, the mask, and the collar piece connects, and it doesn't quite fully connect flushly, but it's good enough at this scale. Because of the way that the figure is designed, and he doesn't have, because they had to make, I guess, the collar piece big to accommodate for the helmet, the head underneath. The neck does seem just a mite bit long, a mite bit larger than it should be, but it's not too bad. Speaking of the removable helmet, it does, fully remove. It just comes off like so. But as you probably saw on the bubble, it does actually come apart in two pieces. So you get the helmet bit. You do have a little bit of sculpt detail in there, which is kind of nice. And then you get the actual mask itself, which looks really good. They have some nice sculpted and painted detail for all those little techie bits that are all along the top part of the mask, which I think is super cool. So that's really nice. And then you have the head sculpt underneath, which is definitely the main attraction of this figure, the main draw. And I think it looks pretty good. I will say that the head sculpt, it doesn't look quite like Sebastian Shaw from the film. It feels kind of like it's an amalgamation of Hayden Christensen and Sebastian Shaw. I feel like it's not quite Hayden, but it's also like not quite Sebastian. It's somewhere in the middle. I think it still looks good. The sculpt is great. The face print looks really good. The scarring, the shading around his eyes, the mouth and everything, the scarring on the top of his head looks really gnarly and looks really good. I have no complaints there. The neck brace here has some decent sculpt detail. They actually did paint a bit of silver in there. And it is a separate piece. You can actually kind of pull the head out. You can kind of get a better look at the head sculpt there. I imagine if you remove the head, you could probably remove this whole collar piece. I'm not going to do that, but I imagine it is a feature that you can do should you want to do so. Then, for the most part, the rest of the figure is that Dark Times Vader. You got the chest armor, which looks pretty good. The proportions and all the sculpt detail of his outfit and suit looks really nice. The chest box and the paint. I will say the paint's a little sloppy on mine on the chest box. Not too bad, but it is worth mentioning. Same thing with this belt buckle there. It's a little sloppy, but it's not too bad. He does have the soft goods lower robe, which I like. It looks good. It's not too large and it flows really nicely on the figure. So I really like that they did that. He also, of course, has the soft goods cape. It is quite large, as 3¼ inch Vader figures tend to have the large capes. It flows decently on the figure, though. Once you get out of the packaging and let it kind of sit for a bit. You can't get it to drape down around his shoulders perfectly, but it works good enough. I am still a fan of it. Prefer the soft goods over the plastic, because the plastic would be quite a hindrance. And he's got the legs there. The armor is painted glossy black, which looks good. But if you own that Dark Times Vader, you've seen most of it all before. Articulation-wise, you do have a ball joint in the neck. It is a bit hindered because of the neck brace, of course, but it still moves pretty good. You get pivot, rotation, a bit of up and down. Works pretty nicely. Shoulder hinges go up all the way. The shoulder armor is made of a soft plastic, so it will move out of the way. Goes forward. Single hinges at the elbows move about 90, maybe a little bit past. Rotation. Swivels as well as up and down hinges at the wrist, which are really good. Torso joint, which only goes forward just a little bit, goes back a little bit, pivots a little bit, and then rotates. The new style hip joints, kick all the way out. Splits, swivel cut at the thigh, single hinge at the knees, which moves a bit past 90. Then hinges at the ankles that go up a lot, go down quite a bit, and pivot. So lots of great articulation. Again, if you have that Dark Times Vader, you know what to expect there. In terms of accessories, comes with a decent amount of stuff, pretty much all the stuff I'd expect him to come with. He does have, of course, the 2-piece, or if you want to count the collar, 3-piece helmet. He also comes with his lightsaber, of course. You do get the lightsaber, nice red blade, nicely painted hilt. He holds that really nice and tightly. Looks good. You also get the unlit hilt, which I'm glad they're making this a standard for Vader figures. I don't know why they went so long without giving him unlit lightsaber hilt. It does have a peg, so you can actually put that on his belt. And it goes on there nice and securely. It looks good. And then another cool feature, accessory, is that you can actually remove the right hand, and he comes with the sliced off part version of his hand that you can put on there, and it's got some nice silver paint and some nice circuitry detail for his sliced off hand, which I think is super cool. And a cool feature of that as well is that the removable hand still has all the full articulation, as well as the rotation and the up and down hinge. They didn't sacrifice any articulation with this gimmick, which is really great to see. But that's pretty much it for the figure itself, honestly. I guess last, I'll do some comparisons. So I don't have the first release TVC Vader with a removable helmet, so I can't show you that. But another figure I have that's, I guess, as close as I can get to that is the Force Unleashed Battle Damage Darth Vader. There's his mostly removed helmet. And yeah, you can definitely see the difference there. This is still not bad, honestly. The scarring and the paint and whatever still looks good. And I actually even think this one maybe even looks a bit more like Sebastian Shaw. But yeah, the new one's just a lot better, a lot more realistic looking. And I'll actually put his helmet back on for this one. Here he is next to the Dark Times, Darth Vader. You see the helmet sculpts are definitely similar. This one is a little smaller, looks a little bit more scaled. I actually like the lens paint on this helmet a lot better. It's a lot darker, a lot more subtle, and a bit more reddish than just the flat brown. Yeah, that's what they look like. Aside from that, aside from the right hand, they're pretty much the exact same figure aside from paint. But yeah, two really solid Vader figures. And then lastly, just another one that's somewhat more recent figures. This is the Rogue One Darth Vader they did, which I honestly don't really like that much besides the helmet sculpt, but you can get kind of a look there at what's going on. So yeah, overall, I think this is a pretty great release. Maybe not an essential buy, depending on how you focus your collection, but great release for new collectors. If you don't have a 3 3/4 Darth Vader figure yet and you missed out on that Dark Times Vader, definitely this is one to get. One of the best Vader figures you can get in 3 3/4 inch. If you're looking for the scene specific helmet removed Darth Vader, again, this one's probably your best bet now, with probably the best looking unhelmeted Vader sculpt and print, head sculpt, and just overall just the better figure with articulation, accessories, and all that jazz. So yeah, it's a really solid figure. If you're interested, I highly recommend picking it up. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you all next video. May the Force be with you.